Welcome to 365 Brothers, the podcast. Have you wondered who are the Black men that you pass on the street every day? What are their lives like? Well, in this podcast, we have an in-depth conversation with Black men from all across America and all walks of life. Listen to their stories, their experiences, their wisdom. I'm your host, Robin Shine. Get comfy. Today, we are speaking to an amazing young man who is a serial entrepreneur. His current endeavor is in an elite lifestyle club. It's travel related, it's online, it's called World Ventures. And in short, this man is about getting it done. And with that, here is David Lee. Welcome, David.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. Before I get into the questions, is there anything that you would like to share about yourself with the listeners?
One of my motto is, live life full and die empty. And with that being said, it's just, I think this year, 2020, has been a crazy year for everybody. But God always got us, and I think we're gonna end this year very strong. But it's really up to you. You really got to make a decision and decide to win. You got to, speak it out to existence and believe that you can win. Believe that you're worthy, and go get it.
Indeed. The first question is, what is your favorite song, either right now or all time, and why?
My favorite song would be Michael Jackson, "Man in the Mirror."
Yeah.
The reason why is because a lot of times we don't take corrective criticism well, and I believe that sometimes you have to look at yourself in the mirror, and sometimes you got to make these changes within you, and not necessarily pick and choose or point at somebody else saying that they're there for or you in this situation because the economy is like this or you're not winning because this and this and that. Look, everyone can win. We will all have the same 24 hours in a day. Oprah Winfrey, all these successful people have the same 24 hours. And if they can win, you have to have a Me Too attitude. You can win as well.
What is one of your most recent things that after looking in the mirror, you discovered about yourself?
A lot of times my passion rubs people the wrong way. They think I'm aggressive. But I just believe that, man, you can really change your life. It's just like a switch. A lot of times people are like, man, why you like this? And why you attract this? You are what you attract. If you're always thinking negative, you're going to get a lot of that. If you think positive, that's what you're going to, receive. And I believe that the world can bend in your favor. And we all are, receptive to a high frequency. And if, I really believe that the man in the mirror, when I look at myself in the mirror, I can, tweak certain things. I can change certain things, but you got to be willing to change those things. Whether somebody is telling you or you just realize things, it starts with you.
Even though you use the word that some people will think you're aggressive, what I hear is underneath it is that you're just unstoppable.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
So, David, what's a favorite childhood memory?
My favorite childhood memory is traveling. My mother was very big on doing Mary Kay and things like that. So she used to always take me to little trips, whether it's upstate New York or maybe down to Florida. I always loved planes. I always wanted to fly. I think when little kids, you want to be Superman and fly, things like that. But then when you grow up and you realize that you don't have any superpowers, you can't fly, the closest thing is a plane or things like that. So I always wanted to fly and travel. I'm the type of person when I'm going through a bad day, I like to close my eyes and picture myself somewhere in a Fiji or a nice, beautiful beach, kind of just, vibing out. So that's one of my favorite things to do is just always wanted to fly. So I don't know why I didn't become a pilot, but I just think that, I'm good where I'm at, just sitting down and having a pilot, fly me somewhere else. I don't want to take that control and have all those people's lives in my control. So I'm cool with that right now.
So two things I hear in that. One, when you mentioned Mary Kay, of course, that is an entrepreneurial enterprise, right? And so I hear that you didn't fall far from the tree on that. And then the other thing, it just leads me to a question, which is there any trip that you took with your mom that stands out as one of your favorites?
Taking her back to our hometown. I'm Dominican and half Chinese. And I took her back to Dominican Republic, and that's something that we cherish a lot. You know, me and my older brother went, and we just had a great time with her. And just seeing her smile and being happy. I know, she that's her hometown, but it's a different trip when you go with your kids, and everybody's having fun. It's not when we were younger. Now we're older. Now it's time to take care of mommy. So taking her to that trip was amazing, and we did a couple of more trips back then. Too. So I think one of my memories was taking her the first time when me and my brother was a little bit older, to kind of take care of everything. She wasn't spending anything. We was kind of spoiling her. So that was a good trip.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now I'm going to ask you about your accomplishment. And
Sure.
I asked this question in two parts. One is, what is your favorite accomplishment personally? And then it means the most to you. And then what is the accomplishment that seems to impress others most?
So one of my accomplishments will be just making a decision to do network marketing. I think it's a stigma on network marketing, as far as, sometimes when you represent these companies, and the people that's representing the company, they don't look like us, they don't talk like us. So people are like, oh, those things don't work. So what gravitated me to World Ventures is that a lot of diversity in there. It's a lot of people that look like us and that are winning, we can kind of like point the finger and say, hey, we can do that too. And just saying yes to that, because me saying yes to World Ventures kind of like trigger, and I actually got the privilege to even help my two little cousins, my cousin and my nephew, earn residual income. And one is a marketing director, and the one is going to be a director in the company. So that was one of my highlight moments, because I said yes. I shared this with them, and they're doing their own thing, and they're building strong teams, and they help other families do the same thing. So
that's great, being a contribution to others. Yeah,
yes.
and helping them experience the freedom that that entrepreneurs can have. It doesn't always happen, but it can happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And I say this, it's not the best way, but it's the easy way. I think it's the easiest way where you can be successful without doing too much, because you're getting paid for something that you did in the past. But it's also going to put in some work. It's 80% mental and 20%, physical, selling a product or anything else. I think once you get the 80%, that you can do this and you want to do this and you want to help more people. I feel like when you have the decision to help more people and don't see them as a dollar sign, I think that gravitates and gets more sales. And when you just frustrated and forcing a sale, it's like, oh, now you're looking at them like a dollar sign. People don't want to be sold, even though they're two type of people: are salesmen and consumers. Even though they could walk into a car shop wanting a car, but as soon as they feel like you're pressuring them and you said they don't want that car, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I do get it. I actually, I'm currently a customer with a company that someone shared it with me, and it's network marketing.
cool.
And but here's what I love about what you said. I'm still a customer, but I'm not in the business. What I noticed about the people who make it in that industry is they're really committed to having other people have the freedom. And I think one of the things that's missed in network marketing for the people who try it and then they don't work, it's exactly like you said. If you go into it and you're just about the dollars, it's a short-lived and may not even be fun adventure. But if you're the ones that I saw over and over again who, had high dollar success, what really was underneath it for them was a commitment to bring other people along and grant them freedom. And then they're really mentoring them to do that. And so, and just in what you shared as your favorite accomplishment, I can tell that that's actually where you're coming from, because that's what your accomplishment was. You didn't name a check or this reaching this level. You named helping someone else get their freedom. So, or whatever that is for them.
Yes. One of my favorite mentors is Jim Rohn. He says, if you help enough people get what they want, you automatically get what you want. So I really cold-hearted believe that. I feel like, and I'm a helper. Like, God knows my heart. I don't want to press my religion on anybody, but I just really generally would like to help people. So when I see a vehicle that can get me there, and not just get me by myself, I can, bring other people along with me. Because they say the top is lonely. It's not lonely if you bring people with you. So that's my mission with whatever I'm involved in, whether it's network marketing or a 9 to 5. And again, I'm not talking bad about jobs, but I just didn't want to cap. I didn't want people to control my situation. I didn't want to trade my time for a paycheck. A lot of times people see these companies, they're like, I have to pay to get started. Yeah, in your job, you're not paying physically with money, but you're paying with your time.
What about the accomplishment that you've noticed that when you shared with others, they're like, oh, really?
The accomplishment of actually hitting director. This is my second time building my team. The first time when I built I barely got it to senior rep. I actually needed one more sale to hit senior rep. That's kind of the first level of residual income. When you start earning some money, you got a little team. So my first time going around, I didn't make it, and life hit me like everything else. So when I tell people that, look, this is my second time and you can win, I really mean that, because my first time didn't go as well, and I could have been that person, oh, those things don't work, but I still gave it a shot because I felt like if those things didn't work, the company wouldn't be here. If you say those things don't work, then you have to look at the mirror and say, maybe I wasn't going as hard as I should have been. Maybe I'm not working because the company is still, and for me to experience success, you have to fail. So if people could see me and they're like, man, this guy failed twice, and you know what? He didn't talk bad about the company. He actually gave it another shot, and now he's winning. And maybe I can give it a shot. So people can relate to that. Not necessarily the success. A lot of people get into these things and they're not gonna go far. But if they could see that, man, he gave another shot, even though he lost and now he's winning, I can give it a shot. So I think people relate to that more than me saying, oh, I hit director or I made this X amount of money. They're like, oh, now he's bragging. I don't. So that's the story that really captivates people. And they're like, you know what? I like your leadership. I can hear it in your voice. You're passionate. People, follow strength, not weakness. So if you're certain and you speak to people with conviction and you know where you're going, they're going to follow you.
What is a favorite saying, metaphor, quote, or book?
My favorite saying is the one that I said before, which is, live full, die empty. I really believe that a lot of us, we live until we're 20 and we don't get buried till we're 75. Majority of the people are walking zombies. A lot of people don't know what they want or where they're going. And I just feel like you really have to start taking control. We don't have enough time. A lot of people, when we're kids, we're like we're rushing to get older. As soon as we hit 25, it's like life hits you. And life could be very scary, but it also could be a pleasure. It can also be something rewarding. It can also be the greatest thing, but it also starts with you. Especially for me, coming from humble beginnings, living in the projects, pits in the elevators. I've seen things that a kid shouldn't see, and I could have fell into the cracks of society. But I decided I chose to be better. I chose to do more. I chose to be around people that outthinks me. A lot of times they say that, if you hang around with 5 bums, you're going to be the 6th. If you hang out around with 5 successful people, you'll be the 6th people. So I just knew that if anything is going to change, it has to be up to me, and I have to be willing to make those changes.
I love that quote too.
Thank you.
So then let's look, we're going to transition some of your experiences.
Okay.
The first question is, what is a person, moment, conversation, or event that either changed the trajectory of your life or it had a lasting and significant impact on your life?
I would say is when I met Anel, my fiance now. As cliche and corny as it may sound, I think she really was the final piece I was looking for. She's somebody that's a strong individual. She's a leader. She has taught me to be a father. Because when I met her, I was a single dude in New York, and when I moved to LA, I was a full blown father with 4 girls, and it taught me a lot. I grew up a lot within the 2 years that I've been here, and I'm a better person because of her. And I tell her this all the time, and she's like, "Oh, stop it! You're a great person too." But I feel like I really believe that 1, there's somebody out there for you. 2, you can also win and be happy as well. But you also got to go through things. There's not a testimony without a test. And you have to go through things. You have to, lose a couple of battles. But if you have a strong belief in your faith and you're willing to change, and you look for better and you do better, you attract those things. So I believe that I really attracted because the way we met through social media, I was in New York and she was in LA, is no reason that right now I have the storybook ending because, I really believe that I've met my soulmate.
Just because I can, I'm going to ask. When was the first time that you met face to face? What was the situation and what happened?
Okay, so the first time we met face to face, I was working overnight at a hotel and she was flying from LA to Dominican Republic for like the third time. She loves the Dominican Republic. And she happened to have a layover in New Jersey. So I paid for her cab and I was like, we have to meet. There's destiny. It's destiny. Like there's no way you had a layover and you could have laid over in Florida somewhere, anywhere, but you're in that close to me. We have to meet. So I paid for an Uber to get over here. And when we first met, it was like we knew each other for so long. Like it was no force. The synergy was there. We ate pizza. We talked. I had a cool boss. I took like a 7-hour break. And he was to this day, I'm like, man, you're the coolest. And we just had just great conversation. And then it was just like we knew each other. So it was really cool.
I've done 20 something of these interviews now. And I've noticed that when men mention, or I shouldn't say mention, when they acknowledge the relationship they're in as significant in their life, they almost always say it has to do with the conversation.
Yeah, I agree. Because we had a long distance relationship. We had a kind of an unorthodox relationship. LA is 3 hours ahead from New York, or behind, sorry. And when we met, we had like a schedule. I used to get out at 8 in the morning and she'll be up. We had like a FaceTime schedule. We really met each other through FaceTime. And, you see the ugly, the good in everybody. You answer the questions because again, we, even though the synergy is good, we don't really know each other until we met. So we was really like asking questions. And another thing too, we started as friends. We also knew that we wasn't going to rush into anything. I think, I believe I was getting out of a relationship and she was also. So we actually started as friends and it grew to something like awesome to where it's now. But you have to have some conversation. It's not just going to be about the dull things. You have to go in deep and give it a shot. A lot of times people will shoot these things off like, she's in LA, I'm in New York, it's not going to work. I was open to it. I was open to being her friend. And I think we both needed a friend at the moment. We didn't need a boyfriend or a girlfriend or anything or any titles. We just needed a friendship. And I think that was the glue, and it got us really to where we are now.
Yeah. And I'll just add for my listeners, Annelle was one of my first students 20 years ago at the school that I currently teach at. Awesome. And she was amazing then, like a go-getter, no stopping her. She was a young mom. She gladly shares this, right? And you could just tell in a conversation with her that she was going to make her life be worth her life.
Yes. Amen.
And when I hear, as this interview happens, this is the first time that you and I are actually having a real conversation because I've met you at some of her events. And as I hear you, it's like, oh, well, of course you are perfect for her. You guys
man, stop it.
You guys are right on point with each other what you're about.
Thank you.
So what is a moment or event that highlights your experience as a Black man? And whether that's, good or bad, wonderful, not wonderful.
As a Black man, I feel like we all Black, whether you Spanish, Asian, everything started in Africa. People don't want to believe it, but life started in Africa. So I think I haven't had a bad situation or anything racism, but I always felt like I had to be the voice for some people. I've noticed a lot of things. I've seen a lot of things in school and in the neighborhood. And I always wanted to be that voice. I always spoke up when I seen something wrong. I was just always that person. I just felt like that God gave me that strength and, to be that voice. A lot of times, people are getting bullied or this is going through that, or you notice a racism slur not said to you, but somebody else. And I feel like you're also condoning it if you like not speaking up. If you like, because it's not happening to you, you should be able to be like, hey, that's wrong.
Sounds like when you were young, there was maybe one or two instances in particular where you spoke up. Is there one that you could share?
Let me speak about myself because my name is David Lee. A lot of people are imagining an Asian dude when they say my name when I come into interviews. Actually, I had one. I went to an interview and the lady was expecting an Asian person, and when she seen me walk in the room, her energy was low and her demeanor changed, and my energy was up. But I noticed that because I'm aware of my surroundings and everything else. Like I felt like she was expecting somebody else, and when she said David Lee, I was like, yes. She was like, and she kind of like smirked, and I was like, and right there, the interview started off bad. It didn't go well, and I just knew in my heart that she was expecting somebody else. So nowadays, when when I was working, or now I'm working now, we had a meeting, and we met all in face and everything else. And a lot of them was like, "Where was expecting an Asian man?" I'm like, "Well, this is me, and this is what you're gonna get," But if I didn't go through that or even was aware of those things, I felt like I would have like been shy and I'm not outspoken and just let people walk over me. But I'm like, this is who I am. I am David Lee. I'm proud to be a Black man, Latino. I love. I don't have no hate or I don't feel like because of my last name doesn't match who I am, man. I'm unique and I'm different. And if you have a conversation with me, you'll see that and you'll love the person that I am. So I'm just that person that always had confidence in myself. And a lot of times, a lot of people don't have that much confidence. But I feel like if, you are uniquely made in the image of God and He made you uniquely for this world, and you have a gift and you have a voice. And if you don't say anything, it's like you're just like slamming the door in his face type of thing. Like you're everyone, whether you little, small, black, green, you have something to give to this earth. So, live your life to the fullest and, tap into your full potential, tap into your power, your God-given power.
That's also something that's showing up in a lot of conversations is this. I've noticed that a lot of folks who've been a yes to being interviewed also have an understanding that we are each a unique expression of the divine, and that our, in fact, my uncle, one of the things he said is, the meaning of life is discovering your gift, and the purpose of life is to share your gift.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So, have you had any interactions with law enforcement? And if so, what, when, little, small, nothing?
I don't remember the time or when, but I do know I was young, around probably 15. And again, I'm from the ghetto, so you see everything. We already are we're looked at already down upon, and we're looked like, oh, these kids are up to no good. And a lot of people come out, a lot of great people come out from poverty and hood and stuff like that. But again, we are already in a society where if you look like this, if you're dark skinned and you wear this, and you live in these neighborhoods, you're bad news. So the situation that happened to me and my cousin were driving. I was in the passenger seat and he was driving, and we kind of had like a little nice car. I believe it was a BMW, and we was just following the rules. We had both our seat belts, but the cop decided to stop us for no reason, and we asked him why are you stopping us, sir? And he was like, who car is this? And we're like, this is, our mom, his mom car. We have license and registration. We show all these things. He didn't get too loud, or it didn't get too messy, or didn't escalate too much. But you can tell he was just looking for something. And I believe that because we handled it the way we did, we were very professional. We didn't get loud, even though he was at the wrong. I think we kind of like escalated the situation, but a lot of times, we are targeted. Like I'm telling, if you're hearing this, hopefully, in the future, this will end. But you're targeted if you look a certain way. You're targeted if you're dark skin. You're targeted if you have nappy hair. You have some braids. You're targeted if you live in lower class communities. You're targeted. So knowing that, know that you can also strive, you can also win. You just know, you got to know how to play the game. You have to know how to play the game, study up on your law and everything like that. Just don't be like out flowing with the wind type of thing, educate yourself. Hopefully this changes in the future, but right now in 2020, racism is still alive. Racism does exist, and we're noticing. People are waking up to it, and I love that a lot of people are speaking up on it. It's a dark time, but it's also a great time. I think God slowed down the world for us to start looking and be aware and use our voices. And I love the people that are athletes. I love the people that are stepping up and using their voice, because right now we have to make a change. I feel like if we can't continue what we're doing, it's going to be a destruction. It's going to be a destruction society.
Wise words there. Which brings me to this question. If the United States were a woman, lover, friend, neighbor, stranger, whatever, if the United States were a woman, what would you say to her?
Man, I'll tell her we need you. Women are full of love, wisdom. A man came from a woman. Recited my brother Tupac, but I really believe that a woman touch right now is needed. You guys are so strong, so strong. You're definitely super women. I had a single mom, so I know how strong she is. And she also was a Leo. so So I learned everything from her. I believe I'm a better person because I learned, to give, to understand, to listen because of my mom. This is before I, entered the school education system. She just taught me from a young age to always be respectful, and open doors for women. Do just little things that again go unnoticed, but they speak loudly about yourself when you walk into a room.
Okay. And so how are you saying that in terms of, so if America was a woman, you would tell her?
I would tell her to get ready, because running office is going to be a little difficult, but I believe that you will, be the answer that we need right now. And we need that. I feel like there's a lot of anger in the world, and not saying that, females are not angry, but I just feel like they have a touch, have a more understanding. I think men are a little more aggressive. We don't think before we act. A woman will think a little bit. That's why they always strategically, you know, winning the arguments, quote unquote, when we have the arguments. But I just believe that we do definitely need a woman's touch, and we need her. We need them now. We need her now. I would love to see a woman president, and that would be a great thing. We just seen a black president, and I believe that it's time for a woman president.
What is love to you?
Love to me, it can mean a lot of things, but love to me is family. I think family is very big. Whether we have those uncles and cousins that we love them from afar. Sorry, but I believe that love is family. Love is the answer to everything. Love is the answer to what's going on now. COVID, the cure for COVID is love.
Also, when you say the cure for COVID is love, how so?
Because I believe that with these masks, I feel like people are the little things that we had, those interactions, those hugs, those, sitting down with your friend, people are realizing how important those things was. People are now not on their phone as much. They're having these genuine conversations because these times are limited. You can only sit down in a restaurant when you're eating. If you're not eating, they kind of like rush you out. So people are having more conversations. People are doing these Zoom calls. People are not calling anymore. People are actually dialing numbers, they're not texting. So I believe that love is the answer, and we need it. And I think God is showing us that with all the madness, with everything that's going on, we need unity, number one. And again, COVID is real. It is a real disease. But I believe that you shouldn't live your life in fear. If you, do the protocols, obviously wear your mask and everything else, be cautious, but we need to show more love. I felt like we was rushing and going through life, just doing whatever, and we weren't calling. And I'll be a testament to that. I wasn't calling my mom. I wasn't reaching out to my friends, and lately I've been doing that. And they're like, "Man, are you okay? Man, thank you for that. You don't know what you did there by reaching out to me and asking me if I was okay." And I've noticed that, and I'm doing more of it. So yes, the COVID, and we're all house arrest, but It's teaching us to go back to the roots, go back to the old times where phones, electronics weren't things. The thing was, playing tag outside, calling your friends. If you had the pay phones, you didn't have a beep or anything like that. You have to wait for that person if he want to call you. Writing letters. No more emails. So I think we're converting back to not necessarily converting back in technology, but that's how we were grow. I was born in the 1982, so I was born in the 80s. So I've lived that era. I've seen the era with the big cell phones. Now there's a small cell. So and I wrote those love letters. I even asked a girl when I was younger would like to be my Valentine. Nowadays you're getting like a text and things like that or through social media. That takes the
Right.
essence of people being together and kind of communicating. So I believe that love is the answer, because when you in love, you pursue it, you kind of court somebody, and that's a good feeling, because you making that when you want something. Yeah, I always use that analogy. If you want it, then treat it like you was talking to a girl. That's how you should. If you want something, you want to go hit a goal, you treat it like that. What would you do to get that girl?
Yeah.
You stay up all night. Wear the nicest thing. You smelling good. Your hair is good. You do all these things. You are going around the places you used to hang out or whatever it is. All you think is about that girl. So you want to hit a goal, just think about that goal, put it in your head, and go for it. Yes.
Is there anything about you that we haven't covered that would challenge any of the stereotypes that exist about Black men?
No, I don't think so. I don't. I don't think so. No.
Okay, great. So those are the questions. Now that we've had this conversation,
Okay.
is there anything that is now either apparent to you or anything that you've discovered or are now reflecting on having participated in this conversation for yourself?
I'm taking parenting classes. Sorry, to just learn more skills. Having a 7-year-old, 13-year-old, and a 17-year-old. Her birthday is today, Jocelyn. And living in a house with just full of females, you definitely need a lot of patience. I'm good on patience, but again, you can always be a student. In student mode, you can always learn. So I wanted to be better for them, be a better role model, be a better father figure, and just be a better person for them. So I believe that the parenting skills is not just going to enhance my skills, but always, bring our relationship a little bit closer, more trust. I believe kids need more trust, especially when it's two different parents.
Yeah.
They just need to know, felt love and feel like you trust them and you're going to be here for the longevity. And that's what I plan to do. So yeah, parenting class.
So, and how did this conversation that we're having create your awareness of that, or how did this conversation contribute to that?
A lot of things. We spoke about what would I say to America. We talk about looking in the mirror, and those are things that a lot of times, being a better parent. Because my dad passed away when I was young, so I didn't have a father figure. I always struggled with these image that I had to be the top father figure. I didn't have an example to reference to, but I always said if I have the opportunity to be a father, I want to be the best father figure ever. So whatever it takes. Just a conversation, everything in love. And I love my kids. I love those girls.
Yeah.
And talking to you and the interview, little things relate to that. And it just brought me to that. And that's why I gave this answer. Yes.
Yeah. David, as I said earlier in the interview, you're engaged to one of my very first students. And she has my heart.
Awesome.
And I love who you are for her. When I
Man, thank you.
see
Thank
the
you so much.
pictures, when I see the pictures that she posts, not just of you and her, and those are amazing, but especially the ones of you, her, and your children.
Awesome.
And I
Thank you.
say your children because it's so clear that you've taken on being a father
Yes.
every way. And it's evident in the images. And I am just excited
Thank
that
you.
someone I love is loved by you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That means a lot because that's what I strive. I feel like a lot of times we are our own worst critics. We feel like we're not doing too much. So for the person looking from the outside in, and you're saying those things, amazing. I know that I'm doing the right thing. So it solidifies my hard work, because that's what I want. That's the image that I want to project to people, to the world, even though those kids are not physically mine, but they're mine. Like, you can't tell me nothing.
I see it. Yeah.
So I'm glad that you asked that question and you see that, and that's what I really want. I want to project that. So all the viewers are seeing this. If you're a dad and you're doing your thing and these are not your kids and you're stepping up, man, more power to you. We need more people like you guys out there. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you for listening. As you can hear, you do not want to miss any of these brothers. Make sure you subscribe. You can find more at our website, 365brothers.com, 365brothers.com. This is Robin Shine. To listen is to love.